So imagine how it hurts. I can imagine. Hello, I'm Mark and welcome. Today I wanna discuss to you about Dr. Joseph Mengele, also known as Angel of Death. When I read some source on internet for next video, I found the article about Dr. Joseph Mengele and his experiment is super crazy. So I decided to discuss this topic in this video with you guys. So let's start. Joseph Mengele was born in Gunzburg on March 16 in 1911, the eldest son of Walburga and Karl Mengele. He has two younger siblings named Karl Jr. and Alois. His father was the founder of the Karl Mengele and Sons Company, which produced agricultural tools. When he was a child, his mother loved Joseph very much because before Joseph's birth, his mother had miscarriages so many times that when Joseph was born, his mother really loved Joseph. And he is a smart student, but when he was 15 years old, he suffered from osteomyelitis, which made him leave school for 6 months. By the time he returned to school, he had to study very diligently to catch up at the school he had missed. And sure enough, within 2 years, he was able to graduate high school with very high marks, and he was also a student who has very polite and made his teachers like him. And lots of women who like Joseph. Because of that, Joseph has many friends and Joseph also often dates with different women. In 1930, he graduated from the Gymnasium High School and studied philosophy and medical at the Munich University. 1 year later, he joined a group called Der Stahlhelm, a military organization that was built when Germany lost in the First World War. Apart from wanting to be a doctor, he was also interested in politics. 5 years later, he graduated and obtained a PhD in anthropology, and in 1937 he studied in the University of Frankfurt to do research led by Ottmar Weher von Fischer, precisely in the field of hereditary biology and racial hygiene. Professor Ottmar is a pioneer of eugenics, which is a science that aims to improve the genetic quality of humans by lowering the genetic quality of those who don't have blue eyes and blonde hair. There, Joseph also studied and wrote a lot of essays which stated that the Jews and slaves were lower in a level and also not human compared to native Germans. After graduating from the University of Frankfurt in 1938, Joseph Mengele joined the SS group, which means Nazi. At the time, that group was led by Heinrich Himmler. Heinrich believed that the Aryan race was superior, and he recruited many young native Germans by going to university and saying that the SS was a good group, a positive group, and you should join. In 1939, Joseph married a woman named Irene Sonbein. Months before the outbreak of World War II, he then volunteered in the medical field at Waffen-SS, a branch of the SS fighting forces where he was occupying position being second lieutenant in the medical battalion until November 1940. He was then assigned to the SS headquarters for racial affairs and settlements in Poznan, where he was tasked with evaluating candidates for the Germanization process. In June 1941, Joseph was transferred to Ukraine to war. In January 1942, he joined the 5th SS Panzer Division as a medical officer after rescuing two German soldiers from a burning tank. And he received the first class award for his action to save two of his friends from a burning tank. But for that incident, he was seriously injured and declared unwell, so he couldn't fight on the battlefield. After his recovery, he returned to the SS headquarters for racial affairs and settlements in Berlin and continued work with von Weisser, who by then had been director of the Emperor Wilhelm Institute for Anthropology and Eugenics, and Mengele was promoted to be captain. In 1943, Joseph was assigned to the Auschwitz concentration camp, and it was there that he began his atrocities. Wearing a white SS doctor uniform, white gloves, and black boots, Joseph will walk in front of all the Jews and he will choose who can work and who should be sent into the poison gas chamber to die. On the first day he did it, 1,035 people were sent into the poison gas chamber. The team of doctors led by Joseph aims to find a cure for gangrene, which at that time spread in several camps in Auschwitz. And he also wants to experiment to find new breakthroughs aimed at making pregnant women can give birth to twins who have Aryan physique. During his tenure, there were 1,500 pairs of twins he experimented with, and only 100 of them survived. Then, how did Joseph experiment on these twins? He was very interested in changing the eye color, where he would drip dye into one eye of the child, and he did not use anesthesia. So imagine how it hurts. I can imagine. And if the twins die, he would immediately kill twins' parents so that at the autopsy he could see their genetic comparison. In addition, Joseph also performs surgery without using anesthesia, removes important organs and breaks their legs and arms, and the worst thing is that he will perform an operation to attach the twins' body parts so that they become conjoined. A lot of Joseph's patients were injured and they were in pain, and finally they died. And the most horrible thing is, after Joseph chooses the children, they will be taken into a very clean room, they will be bathed and wearing clothes. After that, Joseph will come with a smile and sing for the children. He will also give candy to them. They don't know that Joseph is such a cruel doctor, so before they enter the laboratory, they will also assume that Joseph is a very nice person. Apart from twins, Joseph also experimented with young children he chose from the concentration camp. He would circumcise girls and sterilize boys where they would not have children in the future. Besides children, Joseph also chose adults and he would electrocute them until they died, just for his pleasure. Lots of doctors under Joseph's leadership have to drink drugs or drink alcohol because they are not strong enough to see what Joseph was doing. But Joseph doesn't need to take drugs or drink alcohol to commit all these atrocities. According to testimonials from Joseph's co-worker and also the surviving twins, they said that Joseph ordered a pregnant mother and he gave her permission to give birth, after which he would put tape on her nipples so that her child couldn't breastfeed, and finally the child died. Besides that, Joseph also lit a fire in a large barrel. Then he ordered his subordinates to throw as many as 300 children under the age of 5 to be burned alive. The odd thing is, Joseph's superiors really like him and think he is cold-hearted. Whatever the job he had given to him is always done perfectly. If you look at Joseph's childhood, he had a good childhood and his mother loved him very much, and he came from a rich family, but because he is a very passionate toward eugenics, he assumes that people who don't have blue eyes and blonde hair are not humans. That's why he doesn't feel guilty for his action. Finally, in 1945, Joseph had to escape from the concentration camp because the Russian army came to stop the Nazi concentration camp. He fled to Bavaria and worked as a farmer for 3 years before he fled to Argentina. Because his wife didn't like living in Argentina, his wife asked for a divorce. In Argentina, he was supported by President of Argentina at that time was Juan Perón, because Juan Perón really liked the idea of Nazi and also eugenics. And Joseph get a pretty luxurious life, and he also get money from his father. After that, Joseph moved again to Paraguay because he was wanted by the police. And during the years he lived in peace, he was also surrounded by mansions belonging to the Jews. But himself is not afraid if the Jews find out that he is Joseph Mengele. The proof is that over the years he changed his name back to Joseph Mengele. Because at that time he fled, he changed his name under a pseudonym. And finally, Joseph died in 1979 when he was swimming. He suddenly had a stroke, and before he died, he also stated that he never regret what he did in the past. By the way, it seems that research Joseph is successful because in Paraguay over the year, 1 in 15 births resulted in the birth of twins, and the twins have blue eyes and blonde hair. Whereas in Paraguay, the people have brown eyes and brown hair. And it is said that when Joseph stayed in Paraguay, he was also one of the doctors who performed abortion on mothers, and he also gave drugs to pregnant women, and many people assume that the drug could produce blue-eyed twins. That's the true crime story of Joseph Mengele. If you have more information about him, please write it in the comment column below. And I hope you enjoy my video. Thank you for watching and see you again.